Imagine you're driving to work one morning when suddenly you hear a loud bang. You pull over and see that your tire has blown out. You call a tow truck and find out that you need to replace all 4 tires, which will cost you $1,000. You don't have that kind of money in your checking account, so you have to use your credit card and pay interest on it. For this, you're feeling sick and decide to go to the doctor. You find out that you have a serious infection and need to take antibiotics for 4 weeks. Your insurance doesn't cover the prescription, so you have to pay $800 out of pocket. You don't have that kind of money in your savings account, so you have to borrow from your family or friends and feel embarrassed about it. These are just 2 of the scenarios that could happen to anyone at any time. They are called emergencies, and they are unpredictable, stressful, and expensive. That's why you need an emergency fund, a bank account with money set aside to pay for large, unexpected expenses. An emergency fund is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It can help you avoid going into debt, protect your assets, and give you financial peace of mind in case of an emergency. It can also help you achieve your other financial goals, such as saving for a house, a car, or a vacation, by preventing you from using your regular savings for emergencies. But how much money should you have in your emergency fund? And how can you build and maintain it? You might be surprised by how much you actually need. So make sure to watch this video till the end, because I'm going to share with you some examples of how much money you should have in your emergency fund, depending on your circumstances. The first thing you need to know is that there is no one-size-fits-all answer to how much money you should have in your emergency fund, because it depends on your personal situation and preferences. A general rule of thumb is that you should have anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of salary in your emergency fund. This means that if you earn $4,000 per month, you should have between $12,000 and $24,000 in your emergency fund. But why 3 to 6 months? Well, because that's how long it could take you to find a new job if you lose your current one, or to recover from a major illness or injury, or to deal with any other emergency that affects your income. Having 3 to 6 months worth of salary in your emergency fund can cover your living expenses during that period. But of course, this is just a guideline, not a rule. Depending on your circumstances, you might need more or less than 3 to 6 months worth of salary. For example, if you have a stable job, a low debt-to-income ratio, a good health insurance, and a reliable car, you might be able to get by with a smaller emergency fund. Say, 2 to 3 months worth of salary. On the other hand, if you have a variable income, a high debt-to-income ratio, a poor health insurance, and an old car, you might need a larger emergency fund, say 4 to 8 months worth of salary. To determine how much money you need in your emergency fund, you need to consider the following factors. Your income. How stable and predictable is your income? Do you have a regular paycheck, or do you rely on commissions? The more variable and uncertain your income, the more money you need in your emergency fund. Your expenses. How much are your fixed and variable expenses? How much do you spend on housing, utilities, food, transportation, insurance, debt payments, and other necessities? The higher your expenses, the more money you need in your emergency fund. And do not forget your hobbies. Your savings. How much do you have in your regular savings account, your retirement account, or any other account? How easily can you access these accounts without paying fees or penalties? The more savings you have, the less money you need in your emergency fund. Your assets. How much do you have in your home equity, your car equity, your investments, or any other assets? How liquid are these assets? Meaning how quickly can you sell them for cash? The more assets you have, the less money you need in your emergency fund. By taking into account these factors, you can calculate how much money you need in your emergency fund. You can use a simple formula, such as emergency fund equals monthly income, multiply the months, savings plus assets. For example, let's say you earn $4,000 per month, and you want to have 6 months worth of salary in your emergency fund. You have $10,000 in your regular savings account, $5,000 in your retirement account, and $15,000 in your home equity. You can plug these numbers into the formula. This means that you don't need any money in your emergency fund, because you have enough savings and assets to cover 6 months worth of salary. Alternatively, you can use a more complex formula, such as emergency fund equals monthly expenses, multiply the months, plus emergency expenses, multiply the probability. For example, let's say you spend $3,000 per month on your fixed and variable expenses, and you want to have 6 months worth of expenses in your emergency fund. You also estimate that you might need $2,000 for medical emergencies, $1,000 for car repairs, and $500 for family emergencies, each with a 10% probability of happening in a year. You can plug these numbers into the formula. This means that you need $18,350 in your emergency fund to cover 6 months worth of expenses and some potential emergency expenses. As you can see, there is no definitive answer to how much money you should have in your emergency fund, because it depends on your personal situation and preferences. However, by using these formulas, or any other method that works for you, you can get a ballpark figure of how much money you need in your emergency fund. But how can you build and maintain your emergency fund? Well, that's a topic for another video, which I will make soon. So stay tuned for that and make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. But for now, I hope this video was helpful to you and that you learned something new about emergency funds. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends and family who might benefit from it. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.